Hey guys, welcome back to Sad Dad. My name is Dave Abkarian. I am a comedian out of Fresno, California, and this is a show where I sit down with my fellow comedian friends, my funny friends, and we talk about dads. All sort of with an aim to make me a better dad, sort of the long-term goal. Just hearing as many dad stories as I can, good and bad, and everything in between, and hopefully I can glean a lesson from all of that. And comedians are a lot of fun to talk to, and I know a lot of them, so so that's what we do here. This is episode 4. I've gotten a lot of great feedback from folks, so thank you everybody everybody's reached out to me on Facebook and Instagram, and your iTunes reviews have been real heartwarming. So it's been great. This is a bit of a passion project for me creatively, and it's kind of the first real project I've struck out on to do all on my own. You know, normally, I mean, with the exception of my actual stand-up act, most every other creative endeavor I've had some kind of a partner, or so this is neat. It's just all me and me and my guests and I. Try to keep that grammatically correct. And so yeah, it's always a little scary to put yourself out there like that, all on your own, and just having everybody kind of rally around me like they have. It's really meant the world to me, you guys. So I thank you so much. Been a lot of stuff going on this week. We are currently in the midst of an epic run of shows with a very talented guy named Aaron Weaver. I actually recorded an episode with him that I'm going to release in a few weeks, and so tonight's our last show with Aaron, and it's been a lot of fun. Let's see. Oh, and just some updates on the dad front of my life. Let's see. Oh, my own dad. he bamboozled me a little bit this week. He called me up last week and was like, "Hey, can you help me with a project?" I said, "Yeah, sure, absolutely, Dad, whatever you need." And I asked him what was going on. He says, "Well, I was a broken pipe. I have a broken pipe I need your help with." And so kind of without thinking about it, I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And thinking it was sort of like a plumbing issue, like in his house. And I showed up to help him out, and I said, "All right, where's the broken pipe around here, Dad?" Looking around his house, and he said, "Oh, no, it's not in the house. It's out in the field. It's a broken irrigation pipe. We have 2 of them." And so it was a much bigger endeavor than I realized. But it was fun. It was my dad and I out in the middle. We have a 20-acre piece of property, so it was my dad and I out there digging holes. You know, it was 2.5 hours of just digging. Once we finally got everything all dug up, we had these irrigation pipes that we have out here. They're just concrete pipes underground, and they have these kind of like stand pipes that are above ground. And I don't know who it was, maybe my dad or somebody else hit them with a tractor, and 2 of them, and busted them off. So we had to dig that all up and pour a bunch of concrete to cap everything off, and I don't know, it was fun. You know, it was fun. It was just my dad and I just out there. It was a nice day when we did it, so it was cool. It wasn't too hot or anything like that. And but it was funny though. I just kind of came into it thinking it was some simple household plumbing projects, and suddenly we're out there with shovels and concrete, and that was fun. And then took my daughter this week. There was a really cool Native American powwow happening at the City College here, so I took her to that, and that was beautiful and moving and eye-opening, and couple of points I caught myself getting kind of choked up during some of the ceremony, just listening to the songs and the drum beats and just kind of knowing the weight of that, this cultural significance that stretches back so far, and everything they've been through, and it was just kind of real moving. I never expected to be kind of moved to the point of tears just standing in a city college gymnasium like that, and it was good. And I'm glad my daughter got to see that too. So that was nice. Kind of more of a bit of a downer. Her mom called me yesterday, and I guess they have they live in town. I live out in the country. They live in town, and their cat died. My daughter's cat died. I guess they don't know what happened. He coughed really loud one day, and to the point that my daughter was like, "Are you okay, Gandalf?" Because his name was Gandalf. And then the next day, her stepdad came home, and he was just lying there. He was just gone. And so her mom called me and asked if they could do a little funeral out where I live, out on my piece of property that I own, and because you can't bury animals in the city, they want them cremated, and so I said, yeah, absolutely, and they got here and hadn't quite broken the news to her yet. They had Gandalf kind of tucked in a box in the back of their SUV, and waited till they got here before they broke the news to her. And I was here and when they did it, and man, she just lost it. She cried and cried and cried, and so that was kind of hard to watch. I guess that's one of those important lessons that pets do teach us, pets and grandparents. Kind of that early lesson about life and loss, and so my heart was kind of broken for her on that, but no, we had a little funeral ceremony and put Gandalf in the ground with a couple of toys, so we had something to play with, and so that's life. That's how it goes, and it's a hard lesson to learn, but we all need to learn it. It's hard to watch sometimes, though. So yeah, that was a bit of a bummer on the week. I had a show last night. I didn't do particularly well. It wasn't a full blown bombing, but I could have handled certain situations during that set better. Didn't get off stage feeling real great about myself, and that's always a hard pill to swallow, So anyway, kind of licking my wounds after that, but that's how you get better. I got a lot of takeaways, got a lot of great feedback from a couple of people a couple of comedians I really trust. So you try to find those teachable moments even when you don't do well. Try not to bring you guys down too hard at the top of the show like this, because I have an insanely fun episode for you today. It's with my buddy, a very funny comic named Nick Petrillo. This episode is so fun because Nick and I have been friends for a while, and it's real easy for us to just kind of jump right into it. And he's just one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. I listened back to this episode today because I was feeling a little down on stuff, and just listening back to Nick it just puts a giant smile on my face, because he's just this radiant ball of positive energy, and I know you guys are gonna like him, and I also know I've been talking for a while now, so we'll jump into the episode here in just a second. So be sure to follow Nick on all the social medias and stuff. I feel like there was something else I wanted to tell you guys. I'll try to think of it and maybe get back to you at the tail end, the outro. But that's it for now, guys. I will catch you on the other side of this thing. This is, like I said, it's a real fun. Oh, I thought of the thing. Oh, that's what it was. Brief explanation about some of the stuff that happens in this episode. When we recorded this episode, we were live streaming it on Nick's Twitch channel. So there are a couple of points where we address his audience too. I edited some of that out for the podcast just because it was we were talking about video games, and I like video games a lot, and that's something that we could talk about, and we did talk about for a while. So if you want to catch the other side of this conversation, you can actually tune in to Nick's Twitch channel. I'll put a link to that in the comments, or I should say the info on this episode, so you can go check him out there. So there is kind of a real noticeable edit about 3/4 of the way through the podcast, and it's where we actually stopped to address some of the questions Nick was getting on his live stream about stuff, and it wasn't particularly dad related. It was all very, very video game related. So just wanted to give you a heads up on what was going on there. I try not to edit these conversations because I feel that makes them real and sincere. But this one was an exception in which, yes, there was I cut out about 10 or 15 minutes of us geeking out about video games. So, all right, guys, this is, the last intro send off. I swear to God, you're going to enjoy this episode an awful lot, and I will see you in just a bit. Did you actually have mono when you were a kid?
No, I've never had mono. Nobody kissed me.
Oh,
no.
That's a sad story.
It was the one that I always wanted. I was like, I want mono, but I didn't get mono.
Yeah,
but
and I think it's one of those ones that like stays with you too, like as you like, you know.
Oh, then I'm glad I never had it.
Like the herpaderp. Or,
is it all about suppression?
Yeah, I think you can get. I don't know. Can you get mono as an adult? I'm sure of it, right?
Dude, I'm going to have to Google that. I have no idea.
I feel so dumb for not knowing that, but I've been an adult for a long time now, and I haven't met one adult with mono.
Huh.
You know?
It's never like, I feel like if the one adult that's got mono is also the one adult with braces in the office.
Yeah, man.
Like, dude, Stacy got braces, and did you hear she picked up mono?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we need to send her back to summer camp.
Dude, the saddest is grown up acne. It's like, man, it just didn't get any better. Like, cause I had bad acne when I was a kid, and like, if I still had it now, I'd feel awful about myself.
You know what? You're like, dude, I thought this was supposed to end when I had sex. And, I'm 38. That was 32, okay? Yeah. I started having sex at 32.
I'm 32. Wow, all right. Doesn't get any better.
Do I give you hope yet?
Yeah. No.
No? All right, great. Fantastic. As long as I can suck the hope right out of you.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
The vampire giving a blowy toothy blowjob. Oh, my God. I cannot talk today.
Oh, my God. There's a comedian that has a joke about toothy blowjobs, and he compares it to eating an edamame.
Yeah, you know what's really funny about that? Yeah, that's so bad. That's so. Dude, you just gave me such a horrible visual.
It's like the worst.
It's like, is there a seed in my dick now? It's like, is like a banana peel? Do you literally? No, it's terrible. You know what? For all the here's the thing. These things, like, I feel personally to me are myths. Like, you go along with them, and I'm like, oh, the toothy blowjob. Never gotten one.
Really?
Never gotten one. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I joked earlier, but I've been definitely sexually active. Like, come on, man. I moved to ecstasy when I was like in my early 20s. I was like, I didn't move it, but I was like, I was the guy that could get you anything.
Yeah.
And the guy who can get anything.
Right.
People do stuff for pills.
So yeah. Oh, attaboy. Wow.
That's never happened. And also the other trope that like, I was like, that's got to come from someplace. Was it smells like fish.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've never ever gone down there and been like, oh,
is this like
salmon?
A really fishy. Yeah, I mean, I've smelled less than savory smells, but the fish thing, Like straight up like a can of tuna situation?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, not even when I ate out a dolphin. Hey, we got you here. Thanks for tuning in, viewers. So awesome. There's I got two people watching.
We have two audiences involved right now. One is Nick's audience, who is watching on Twitch. The other is my audience, who is listening to the podcast. So I've been recording you for a while now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So this is all evidence. This is all evidence, and this is going to a Supreme Court trial.
Yeah, we are 3.5 minutes into my recording. So I got all of that.
Put it all out there.
I think it's more. I think it's a little bit more fun, you know, like than being like, "Hey, welcome to the." I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm still figuring this thing out. I'm only 3 episodes deep, so
there's definitely an intro that needs to be done, but it can be done natural. Like the one thing I can't stand is like when YouTubers, like you go to like a YouTube video and the first 4 minutes of them going, go ahead and smash that like button and go ahead and subscribe and go ahead, and it's like, no man, just make it, have a good time.
Yeah.
And if people subscribe, like, I don't know, I'm more of a, to me, because here's also the thing, I was a salesman for years.
Right.
I hate sales.
Yeah, dude, me too.
And I feel good, and I don't want to sell it. I just want you to hang out, have a good time, man.
Yes.
That's it. So
yeah, I told you about it last night. The homeless man I met in Orange County.
That looked like an Old Navy model.
Yeah. And he and I were talking, and he was talking about how he did sales and he loved it. And I was like, dude, no, you don't. You only say you love it because you're so good at sales that you've sold yourself on sales.
Yeah.
I was like, really think about what you're doing. And he's like, no, man, no, it's great. And I could definitely tell I was challenging his ego. There was a weird, like, internal thing happening when I, like, kind of, like, dug past that very superficial layer.
You were attempting to pull a person out of the Matrix that was not ready to be pulled out of the Matrix.
Absolutely.
It's like, no, it's real. But here's the thing. Also, to say that there's no products out there that are good to sell, like there occasionally are. There's like some product that you're like, and I've gotten lucky in my life to be able to sell one of those products that I was like, oh, this is a good thing, and I can sell it to people. And I didn't do it. All I did was demonstrate it.
He sold LuLaRoe.
LuLaRoe. I've sold leggings. I tried on leggings. Oh my god, this actually isn't my skin. This is just a legging. Oh, LuLaRoe.
What were you selling that you actually believed in?
It was actually like a blender, which oddly, it was a blender. But the company took such care of the customers that what sold me on it wasn't the other salesman; it was the customers, and the customers were coming up. And there was a guy. I remember I was at a show, and a customer came up and just started pulling. These were expensive $400 blenders, and one customer came up and was just pulling. He pulled 4 down into his cart. And without me talking to him or interacting, him not watching me doing what I'm doing at all. And I was like, hey, man, I was like, yeah, so are you already have them? He's like, oh, yeah, I already have them. These are just wedding gifts. They're the most amazing thing. Everybody buy them. And I didn't finish my demo, and people just started peeling them down.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I'm also going cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching,
dude,
cha-ching.
That's a great day's worth of commission.
Yeah.
There was a while, it was about a year ago, I got job offered, and I actually turned it down, but it was a job as a traveling waffle salesman.
A traveling waffles. Like, I'm imagining you putting on your tie, packing a suit briefcase full of waffles, closing and be like, off to the office, dear. Like,
yeah, like this company was like, they're like the biggest like waffle mix provider to like hotels and like restaurants and stuff. And same situation. I was like, I could sell waffles. I believe in waffles.
The Wolf of Waffle Street.
It was just so much travel that it was going to take me away from my family and all
it's
that.
It's just you and guys doing fucking lines of powdered sugar and pouring maple syrup all over the place. And just, oh my God, throwing midgets through a Waffle House window. Yeah. Just, oh my God.
I
delicious.
Yeah, I mean, part of it was I would have to be in like kind of like the north. What is it? Well, I'd have to spend a lot of time in the Midwest, and I just don't do snow, man. Like I'm just not a big snow guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not. You tell me snow, and I'm like, I'll see you later, man.
Yeah. You're a California kid. You grew up. Yeah,
grew up in California. Family. my dad is from Buffalo, and I remember asking him as a kid, I was like, Dad, well, how come we don't live in Buffalo? And he's like, because I fucking hate snow. And I was like 7, and he just looked at me dead faced because I fucking hate, like, just, he said it, didn't give a shit. I was like, ooh, it's a bad word. And he's like, that's how I feel about snow. Like, that's just, he didn't give a shit. Like, there's just that moment.
I mean, snow's magical to me for about 4.5 minutes, and then it soaks through to my socks, and then I'm done. I'm like, okay, it's back in the car.
I mean, I like it. I've gone like snowboarding, and I like going up to the mountains, and I do like seeing it, whiteouts and stuff like that. Not my thing. Some people truly love it. I don't think I've experienced it over a long enough period, but I have, like I go up for a week and I'm like, oh, this is dope. I like this. You know what I mean? I don't mind it. But just I've never had to. But again, here's why. Because I've never had to shovel it. I've never had to salt a road. I've never had to like warm up my car for 30 minutes before I drove it. So that's completely foreign to me.
Yeah, and like having to see like those gross black piles of snow that are piling up on the sidewalk, and it just sounds miserable.
Yeah.
Nick Petrillo, hi.
Hey, what's going on, Dave?
You're on. This is my podcast. We've been talking on,
and now we do the intro.
Nearly 10 minutes.
It's a freeform jazz festival, and then we.
Well, no, I'll do a wraparound. So I'll intro the thing. I'll just edit in the intro with just me solo and tell them who you are and stuff. But I do want to ask you. You're a comedian. And you do comedy.
This is like last night when you're like, hey man, do you still smoke cigarettes with your mouth?
I don't always phrase my questions well.
No. I've moved on to the asshole. Like, less cancer if you just suck the
little asshole cigarettes.
Yeah, little South Park backdoor entry.
I actually just got back from doing some shows down in the OC, and it was like living out a Nick Petrillo origin story, because all the open micers down there talk about Nick Petrillo. Like you're kind of on this little bit of a pedestal to those guys because you've made it out.
I don't know why. I haven't done shit. Like I've done nothing.
I think, you've done some cool stuff. Don't sell yourself short, but you've also been doing it for a long enough that they respect the amount of time, and you're doing it full time.
This is what, 8 years?
Yeah. I don't know. You'd have
not like full time. Like, believe me, there was a dude that I featured for in December at like Pachanga, and I'm hearing his schedule, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing this on this night, and I'm only getting 500 for this night." And I'm like, "I'm not doing comedy full time."
Yeah,
this guy has like a full. Me, I do it when I can, and then I fill in the rest of my days with background work where I'm just on set talking to people, going,
oh wow! I didn't know you did background work.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think like separates like you from that guy? You know what I mean? Like, because you're probably as talented as that guy. I don't know who you're talking about, but I mean you've got an hour. You know.
Here's the thing, like those guys, especially on the comedy shows. Like if you're in a comedy show and you're working background, like a lot of times you feel like there's no difference between me and that guy. Right. So as far as a comedian, like there's definitely comedians in there. Dude, are you kidding me? Like I'm on the back. Do comedians do so much background work? It's a networking gig for me. Like we're just sitting around. I meet 3 other comics. Yeah, I'm a comic. Yeah, I've seen you before. I've seen you before.
Funny, yeah.
And so on the comedy sets, like you feel like there's not that much. But I was talking to another comic. We were talking about how funny it would be to do like maybe some kind of project where you get like a bunch of comics and you try to get them to do serious as shit scenes. You're like, hey, you think you can act, but you can't do this. Like you can't do that. Like I want to see you try to be James McAvoy in a Split. Like I want to see you try to pull that off.
That'd be so funny.
You know what I mean?
I was thinking about funny enough, I had this idea for a story about a sitcom background character that suddenly becomes self-aware, and he kind of like can like suddenly see the absurdity of the main cast like playing out in front of him.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, normal people don't act like that. And then he starts realizing that like, you know, when these like this magical set of like 6 people or whoever the main cast is gone.
Yeah.
Like, we don't do anything. Like we're just standing here waiting for these people to show up, and it's this, I don't know.
Yeah, a self-aware, but like I always want to do that. Like so when I'm there, like depending on where I am in the background, I'll actually do ridiculous shit. Like I will, like there's a scene in, and I don't know if it ever caught it. There was a scene, I was on the set of like Lucifer, and I was in the back, and it's a high school reunion, and we're in the back, and there's a whole table filled with like the food, like where the food would go in the high school reunion, right? Oh, here's the food table, and somewhere back there, I don't know if they ever picked it up because the camera came around, but somewhere back there is me and a girl moving fucking food pieces like we're playing chess, and we're doing that, and she's moving it like this, and I'm like, yeah, okay, and then I move like a piece of cheese over here, and she goes. And she stamps something like a clock and she moves it back, and then I go, God damn it, but I'm silent doing it, and I always wonder if anybody ever caught that like in the background.
Oh, that's so funny.
There was one where there was a kid, they actually had to yell cut. It was some scene on a show where we were in a hockey rink, and I have this, they give me this piece of paper, and they're like, you're going to go up, you're going to hand this to the guy like you're asking for your ticket. Oh, okay. Like you're asking where your seat is, and you are going to direct him over here, because they want the background to have a little bit of flavor, right?
Yeah.
People walking around, stuff like that.
Doing stuff, yeah.
So I walk up to this kid, and no lie, this kid he looked exactly like Ryan Gosling with a beautiful afro. Like just,
okay.
Dude, Ryan Gosling dipped in caramel, but with the beautiful afro, like the most perfect afro. And I was like, dude, you are proof that Ryan Gosling once banged Queen Latifah. It was amazing, and it was funny. And I walked up and I was like, and I handed him, and when I went to go, I handed him the regular a couple times. I make a couple faces, try to make him laugh. The third time I walked up and I go, hey, do you know where my seat is? As I'm handing him the ticket, I flip him the finger, and he just starts to crack up. And they're like, cut, like, what's funny? And it's like nothing. I was like, I did it. I'm sorry. And so you try to screw around, but I try not to screw around too much.
Yeah, right. You don't want to like be totally disruptive, but yeah, it seems like it would be mind-numbing work at times.
It kind of is, barring the occasional actress meltdowns, which are fun.
Oh, I bet that's fun to watch. Yeah,
there's a show that I worked on, and I don't think I get to name it. That it was just on the background of, and me and a couple of guys, we played like Chilean soldiers that were in the, like they were time traveling. They were Chilean soldiers in the 70s, and we were using real M1 Garands.
What?
Right? And so these two actresses, the two principal actresses, they're there and they're being taken away by some guards, and we're supposed to step down and stop them, like step down, box out, cross our things, and keep them from getting in. And they told us, they're specifically, hey, just remember, these are real metal and wood guns. If you hurt their faces, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Whatever you do not hurt these actresses. Okay. So we step down, and the kid next to me, he's like, because we're trying to not. This is steel thing that you can catch to the face.
Yeah, right.
And he's not doing it. And the actress goes, "Cut! What the fuck are you doing? I feel like we're dancing here. Are you going to do your job or not?" And he's a background actor getting $12 an hour. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't." And he's like, "Dude, what should I have done?" And I looked at him and was like, "You should have done your fucking job."
You're an asshole, Nick Petrillo.
I couldn't help it. I had to pile on. But I was like, "No, you did fine." And so they need to switch out to rubber guns. They switch out to rubber guns, but occasionally someone melts down. But that was fun. That wasn't mind numbing because we got to work around like an exploding Jeep.
Yeah.
To sit, take aim. So they're kind of fun filled days. But yeah, a lot of times it's just, dude, literally background work is you mostly sitting in a tent, reading a book, listening to music, and then eating food.
Gotcha.
That's
what. And all of this wasn't even the question I meant to ask. I actually meant to ask what separates you from like that comedian that's working like, like that's booking like
TV credits.
Is that what it is?
TV credits.
Yeah.
What I need to be is I need to be the guy who is on camera, and then I can get the TV credits, and then I can.
Oh, so you're on that guy that you were featuring for in December. You're on his path. Is that?
No, I everyone's got their different path. Like,
sure.
That's the thing. The truth of the matter is, I have no idea what separates me.
Yeah.
From being like the full-time working comic. I have no idea. I've tried a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Like submitting to festivals, submitting to competitions, entering competitions, just submitting straight to comedy clubs. I can't tell you what it takes. I have no idea. Yeah. Who knows? It might not. There's no guarantee in this world. So I don't mean to be like a downer or anything, but you may just live and then have a dream and then die without ever seeing it happen.
Yeah.
So that could happen, but I don't know. So I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
But who knows, man? You just keep going, and then whenever Danny says, "Hey, Connor bailed. We need you." You just say yes.
Nick Petrillo steps in.
You know what separates me from being Connor McSpadden is Connor bailing on shit. That's what separates me.
Yeah.
Because now I'm here doing these shows.
And I guess, well, you got into comedy a little bit, actually probably about the same age that I started when I was 30. When did you start?
I started at 32. I started at 30 as well. Not 32, but I started at 30 as well.
Yeah, and what was sort of like that big spark for you? I mean,
I don't know. I had watched plenty of people do it, and I've been in love with comedy since I remember a buddy. I remember being a young kid, like middle school, and a buddy sneaking me Dennis Leary's No Cure for Cancer, knowing my parents didn't want me to listen to it, and staying up late night, putting into a CD player, the Walkman CD player, and listening to it late at night in bed, up all night, tired for school, but laughing my ass off. It's like the butt of the cigarette, that's where the heroin is. And people are like, dude, aren't you 12? Like, why are you saying this? Right? And doing that, and then later on finding Bill Hicks. Oh yeah, Dennis Leary. I told another kid about that. He's like, well, Dennis Leary just stole from Bill Hicks. Here's Bill Hicks. Listening to Bill Hicks, and then you occasionally, and then I don't know, something weird also tied in the fact that like I loved Metallica and metal, so I loved Bill Hicks and that heavy stuff.
Yeah,
and it was amazing. And
it's funny, like there's those parallels too. Like I feel like you could very easily make like the heavy metal comedy comparison, and I feel like you can make like a punk rock comedy comparison too. I feel like both of those personalities are like comedians tend to be very punk rock people.
You could make dude. To me, Jim Gaffigan is like good folk music.
Yeah,
Jim Gaffigan's like if
Brian Regan.
Brian Regan,
good
and then,
folk music. Yeah,
dude. But then I got Cat Williams, who's just trap music. Dude. You know what I mean? So I love it all. And but I did really like some like the heavy guys, and the one that really kind of kicked it into gear for me was I remember seeing Doug Stanhope's No Refunds.
Oh yeah,
which to me was the best metal album of all time. Is Slayer's Seasons in the Abyss.
Okay,
a lot of people say Metallica. Probably the one that you put at the top of the list is Metallica Master of Puppets, but the one for me is Slayer's Seasons in the Abyss, because it has that production value, but it's got the heaviness and the riffs, and it's just amazing. And to me, that's what no Refunds was. It was just heavy. He went after the Pope. He went after the Yankees in New York. He's like, fuck you, fuck your Yankees, and just made a whole point and made a huge joke about it. And people, they were booing him. But by the end of the joke, this was his closer. They're booing. His closer is fuck the Yankees. He didn't wait a whole special. He at the very end, he waited the whole special. He could have done it at the beginning, and then won him back through the whole special. But no, at the end, he's like, I'm gonna piss you off and then also make you feel good at the end of this special, which he did. And I was like, dude, this guy's heavy metal as fuck. I love this dude.
And that was it.
And that kind of started it. And then I remember a family member got me a spot in a comedy class, which, I mean, if you want to start comedy, you actually don't need to do that at all.
No, it's funny. I was actually just having a conversation. It'll probably be the episode before this with Brandy Posey, and she was talking. She started in a comedy class too, and there's kind of like a weird stigma. Like some people are like real, like, I did a comedy class, and I don't think it's anything like anybody needs to be ashamed of. You know?
You know who does that? It's the 2 to 3 year guy who didn't go to a comedy class and is just grinding hard and is like super snobby. Has some chops.
Right.
And has gotten compliments early on, and so now he's like snobby.
And like judging people that are doing the classes and stuff. Is that what you meant by that? Like that's the guy that's being judgy?
That's the guy.
Yeah,
he's super
100%.
Judgy. Oh, you do nice act out, or what? Yeah. Oh, I can't. Oh, that's a common joke. Everyone's done that.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, okay, quit being snobby.
Chill out.
Yeah,
dude.
chill out. Which, don't get me wrong, I've been that guy. I 100% have been that guy. And then you go, oh, that guy fucking sucks. And then you're like, let's not be that guy anymore.
Sure.
So, So,
well, that's great, man. Well, thank you for all. That was a ton of fun.
You look overwhelmed. You're like, that was a lot of yelling
that's been out of control in the best way. I was like, God, I should probably ask him about his dad at some point.
Dude, somebody said, why are you like this? And I was like, cocaine. Cocaine is why I'm like this. I did so much that I'm perfectly stuck at this level now.
Yeah, it's great.
So,
I mean, I'm into it. I'm glad you're not doing cocaine now.
I'm very glad I'm not doing it anymore. But it's just...
Yeah, well, okay. Let's get into it, man. What? Tell me about your dad. You don't have to name him if you don't want to. I don't know if there's like any.
My dad is Joe Petrillo.
Nice, dude.
Fucking Joe Petrillo.
Yeah.
Joseph John Petrillo. He retired LA County Sheriff. Small business owner. Very successful business owner. He did well for himself. And
well, let's start even further back than that. Where'd your dad grow up?
My dad grew up in New York.
Buffalo, you said, right?
Buffalo, New York, and moved around New York quite a bit. So, from what I gather from family members and accounts, he was small when he moved out here. I think he was somewhere between 7 to 10, but he had moved out, and my family had bounced around Brooklyn and upstate, and and when they moved out as a clan, and part of them just stopped in Texas. So I have a whole family of Italian Texan cousins that cook oh my God. You can't, Thanksgiving is the turkey and then also turkey cacciatore and then both sweet and hot sausage. Yeah. And then also so they're amazing.
That seems like a very intense mashup of culinary, arts, you take the Texas barbecue and the Italian everything else and mash them together. I feel like good things could happen.
They mash the whole thing up, and all of Thanksgiving is a ridiculous. Dude, you walk away just 20 pounds heavier, and you're like, I'm full. And then my Aunt Karen goes, well, it's time to bake cookies. So, yeah.
I love you, Aunt Karen.
She's a master cook in the kitchen. She's a beast. So I love Aunt Karen. I love you, Aunt Karen.
And so they made it out here. When was that? What year would that have been roughly?
I mean, that's back when my dad was a kid, and my dad, I mean, we're talking maybe 50s, 60s.
Oh, wow.
50s, something
like that.
It's
kind of a magical time to move out to LA, though. I mean, I feel like he still had some of that romantic Hollywood era going on. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Because my dad came up and, grew up through the 60s. And I was born in 79. And he had gotten married to my mom. And so he is... he kind of grew up through all that.
Yeah.
But he's enough of a Californian that he can tell you all the different neighborhoods and, and he patrolled them. Dude, Google Maps has nothing on my dad.
No shit.
Dude, really? If you want to ask him the best way to get out of downtown at 5 p.m., you ask him. You don't call Google Maps.
Wow.
Yeah. He's like, yo, you're going to take the bridge. You're going to come out across Broadway. You're going to get out of here. And dude, that guy knows LA like the back of his hand.
Oh, that's great. I was just in LA, and it's it was like that. It was like Babe in the Big City, wandering around, buffoonish adventures. I didn't know where I was at any point.
Hey, all you got to remember, one golden rule: just don't make eye contact.
Yeah, yeah, right. Just call your dad, Nick Petrillo's dad. I'm lost,
dude. He will. He absolutely will. That's the thing about my dad. Lives for people going to him for help. He loves that shit.
Really?
Yeah, Dad, I need your advice on something. He's like, well, you know what? Sit down. Let's have a 4-hour talk.
Oh wow, so, that's cool, man.
He loves doing that.
And he was pretty supportive for you.
He's supportive when my dad is a small business owner and is always entrepreneurial guy, but he's supportive when he wants you to do. He's kind of like that. I was like, dude, I remember in high school, I remember I wanted to play guitar. He said, I'll get you guitar lessons, but you have to teach yourself something first. So I grabbed an acoustic guitar, and of course, I taught myself Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
So I learned to play that, and obviously, Stairway to Heaven. Who doesn't start with Stairway to Heaven?
Right.
Which total hack in the arts doesn't start with Stairway to Heaven? Yeah. So started there, and then I remember I wanted to quit. I really wanted to go into music, and I wanted to play. I loved playing guitar, and I was like, I want I want lessons. I don't know how to read music. I want to learn how to read music. And I wanted to drop out of football. And he's like, no, you're not dropping out of football to do that. And I was like, well, I'm not going to go pro. Like, I would love to play guitar. And he's like, no, you're not doing that. So, yeah. So depending on which, he can be supportive.
Yeah.
But he can also be like, not... Like this whole comedy thing, when I started, I just did it.
That was literally my next question. I was like, what did he think?
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
He fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Like now he's like kind of, okay, that's cool. But he still isn't like fully on, like, you still doing that comedy bullshit?
Yeah. He means well.
He does mean well. Like he wants, like that's the thing. He wants the best for me, but he wants it as like a financier. Like, like he kind of wants that whole thing. And I'm like, I've worked with those guys. Don't get me wrong. I've worked with those guys. And when you stare at them eye to eye, you're like, man, you're the devil. I can't do this.
I 100% know. Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, having worked in sales, like we were talking about that earlier, like you run into those guys every now and then, and they're just hard to read sometimes, man.
Oh my God. And like, it's always, I remember the first time I originally was like, okay, this is going to be a cool working experience. I work for a real estate company, and the guy across, like, first day, they give me the books. I'm sitting down, I'm reading, like they give me the hey, sit down and, you know, get up to date with all this stuff. And I'm sitting in this little cubicle. I swear to God, no wider than my shoulders because I'm fucking fat. So I'm sitting there, and I've got the cubicle, and I'm looking, and the guy across from me is, you know, he's like, man, I got to get on the phone. I got to pound these numbers. He's like, I'm going to be right back. He walks out, and like, I forget about it. 20 minutes later, he comes back in going, all right, let's do this. Woo! And he picks up the phone, starts calling. I was like, did you just like do rails in the bathroom? He's like, you know it. And I was like, are you kidding me? This guy's a nut job.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And, oh man, your cocaine act that totally just threw me off. I had another fun question. Oh yeah, I had a sales anecdote. One of my first big sales. I was working at CarMax. I just got hired at CarMax, and the store that I was working at was grand opening, and they had this like ridiculous like step-by-step process on like introducing the customers to, like you had to like walk them to the window sticker and show them like all the things on the window sticker, and you know, it was like this insane process, and there was like an 8-step car selling process, you know. And so this guy walks in. My first time ever taking a customer. I think I'm like 19 at the time.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, hi, welcome to CarMax. He's like, hey, I just want to buy that car. And I was like, what? Like, it was literally the car in the showroom. It was a Corvette. And I was like, well, that's step 7. we can't do any of that until we do 1 through 6.
Yeah.
So everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face, man.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You go off like script. Dude, sales jobs can be terrible. You go off script. You got to try to get it. There's some guys, and that's the thing. It's never, well, I don't know why, but every single sales job I ever had, my question is like, why is it always the sales manager who he's never actually sold any of this shit? Right. It's always like the owner's son or something, and he has no idea. And you're like, dude, you're like the worst person to be overseeing this process.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, man, cars, that's the one thing I don't think I've ever sold. I've done real estate, pots and pans, knives, cookware, dude, blenders, cruises, you name it.
Yeah.
Done all that crap, man.
Oh man. Well, speaking of selling stuff, what you said Joe is an entrepreneur. He has a business.
Yeah, he does. I started off working for him, and he actually does security systems. So he had a background in law enforcement.
Oh yeah, he was a sheriff. Yeah,
LA County sheriff for like 20 years, and then had a horrible car accident where it was a dude. He was off duty in somebody's Corvette. And a dude in like a Cadillac or like a Fleetwood or something like that, in a big heavy car, might have been a Bel Air or something like that, was on heroin and hit him. Oh, geez. And those Corvettes were nothing but light ass fiberglass, and he wound up breaking his back and got relegated to like desk duty, and was like, man, I don't want to.
And how old are you when that happened?
I think I was like a baby. I think I was a baby. They had just because I was adopted, so they just purchased me off eBay, and so they did a buy it now. Yeah, it was definitely buy it now. They got me off Amazon, not at a discount. I was not on sale. No, they got me, and then I remember, I think it was at that point. I guarantee you, my mom was like, "No, you need to come home because we've got a family now," so he decided to go into alarm systems and alarm sales, and for homes and stuff like that, and he did, and that like took off, and I remember as a kid, living in one house, which was a nice house, and then after a while we moved into another house, and I remembered moving to that house going, oh shit, we live here now? Like, and his business took off. He did really well for himself. And did really well for our family.
Wow. And do you have any siblings or?
Yeah, I got a sister. Yeah, and I got a sister. She's 6 years younger than me.
Oh, okay.
And and so she's super cool. She'd be a handful though.
She. Well, I would assume that the business must have taken off if they decided to have another kid, because it seems like. It seems like it would have been so scary. Like we're gonna do it. We're gonna adopt a kid, and then immediately your entire way of life is put into jeopardy. And driving a Corvette and
getting hit and off duty. And he was also a dude that was involved in a couple of shootouts.
Oh Jesus!
Back in the day. And then on top of that, he's got a whole story that he loves to tell of the time that a Hell's Angel told him, why don't you take that goddamn badge off? And he did, and they fought.
Holy shit.
Yeah, my dad, he's a guy that like,
He sounds like a folklore
because depending on who you are. Like, there's a few limpy gangsters, like probably in LA somewhere that are like, that guy, Petrillo guy was a dick. So he's got some stories, and I've heard some stories that I'm like, all right, because, dude, being a cop and dealing with people like this is before body cams, this is when, like, if you ran, you got the shit kicked out of you. Yeah. Like, if you, like, this is back, like, pre-Rampart investigations, pre-Bratner, like all this other stuff. Yeah. So LA County Sheriff and LAPD this was way different.
Yeah.
So those guys didn't mess around at all.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
wow. Are your mom and dad still together?
Yeah, they're still together.
Oh, cool.
So they're still together, which that's great. There's my mom's. My dad's. I feel like my dad's chilled out and my mom's ramped up over the years.
Oh my god, it's so funny you say that. My mom, I think that's a thing that happens. Yeah. Because I remember one time I had my ex-girlfriend. Her mom was like real. She would get real obnoxious, But growing up, her dad was like super abusive, and they stayed together, and the same thing was happening. And I remember mentioning that to my mom. I'm like, God, like my ex's mom is so hard to be around sometimes. She's just on all the time. And my mom's like, yeah, she's a new old lady. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, my mom is like been going to church and she's been through it herself. I take that back. My dad wasn't ever abusive to her, but it's a thing that's like very cyclical with women. Like that, like the husband just fucking starts to chill out, and then it's their time to shine into the golden years.
Yeah, it's like if there's something about that I'm telling you is like in a retail situation. Here's what it is, and because I've dealt with retail, I'm sure you dealt with it. You've seen it a million times, and a lot of people you've probably seen it a million times too. Guys watching, this is what happens, and it's the wife comes up and she's got the attitude. I've reached this age, I've reached this maturity. I'm not waiting for anything. Yeah. Whereas the guy goes, I've reached this age, I'm retired, I got all day, man.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
He's like, let's just run me through it.
Like I've had so many guys that like just chill around through a demo. I was like, no, man, you're a chill dude. I'm just hanging out. I don't have any place to be. Yeah. There's a lady's like, just hurry up and tell me how much it is. You know what I mean? And it kind of happens. And my mom, oh my God, my mom is the Michael Jordan of passive aggressive in a retail situation. Like, holy shit, she goes hard in the paint. Hard in the paint, dude. She apparently went like dress shopping. Like I'm getting married in July, and apparently she went dress shopping with my girl and to look at wedding dresses, and one of the dresses they bring out, and my mom's like, well, no, that dress is great if she's trying to look ugly on her wedding day. Like my mom's just,
Jesus.
my mom just she's Mrs. Bluth from freaking Arrested Development.
Yeah, man.
And she's going hard, and she's doing it more and more and more. And I'm like, Mom, you know that I'm related to you, right? Like we don't have to do this.
Right. We share a last name. I don't need that Petrillo name sullied.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's the thing. It's everything. It's like, okay, don't finish it if you just want to waste all the food in the house. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't ask you for this much. Like, you
Jesus.
know, so yeah, so she's getting there. Whereas my dad's like getting to the chill.
Is she Italian too? Or?
No, she's not. She's a mix of German. She's plain white, and my dad's like alt white. I guess that is like, so I heard this funny joke the other day when someone's like, Italians, they're not real whites, or like kind of off white, like or what, or something like that. And so he's taupe.
Taupe.
I don't know.
Good. Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's funny to think that like Italians and the Irish faced serious racism at one point in this country, and now they're just all lumped together. We're all just white people now.
I'm telling you,
Armenians are kind of the same way.
Yeah, kind of. Like that's the thing. You just go off tone or whatever, and it's like, oh, white guy. And then especially if there's guys I know that I'm like, you're Armenian, and we like facial features. We start as a guy. I'm like, those are the most Armenian eyebrows, and he's like, well, I'm Nordic or whatever. And it's like, well, okay. So it doesn't matter. But plus also, I don't know, man. It's weird. The discrimination. I feel like America is just the king of like, let's just we got to hate the new thing for a little bit. We got to hate you. Like, I don't know, man.
And there's a weird like immigrant mentality too, that like once one minority like goes through it, they feel like everybody has to pay their dues. It's one of the most obnoxious things to me about Armenian culture is so many of them are so anti-immigration, and it drives me bonkers because it's like if your great grandparents heard you talking the way you're talking right now, they would punch you in the goddamn mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, to hear Armenians shit on Mexicans about wanting to immigrate to the United States, it's like, oh, fuck yourselves, dude.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
You were
understand
3 generations in.
We were all there at some point. So,
Uh-huh.
and plus also one of the greatest things, and I'm not saying it's like a major selling, but one of my favorite things I ever saw where I was like, oh my God, becoming an American, like not just completely obliterating your identity, but becoming an American version of that is actually kind of cool. Because I remember I worked in a sales office where we were in a like you get those cubicles that butt up, and now you're just neighbors with every asshole within arm's reach, right? But there were a couple of guys, and one was Palestinian, one was Jewish, and you know what they argued about? Fucking sports teams. That's all they argued about. They didn't care. And I was like, and I remember asking somebody, and I didn't want to break the peace. Like I didn't want to bring up that topic, but I remember turning to somebody. I was curious. I was like, do they ever argue about like religion or ethnicity? And I was like, no, it's never been a thing. They're just they're good buddies. But the only place they differ is apparently on the hockey rink. So, because it's hockey. One was like Ducks, one was Kings, and they both hated each other over that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, at least that's taken the place of. I feel like it's kind of like becoming American is like an AA for for racial like hatred that's outside of that. Like once you go through that process, it's like great. Now hockey is now the cigarettes that you're only arguing about. This is your methadone. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, but there's something in that. I mean. But
I think but no, I see the point you're making though. It's like let's hate frivolous shit instead of like the really deeply personal.
Yeah, exactly.
There's still a place for hatred.
I want to tell you that I hate your shirt, not that I hate your skin.
Yeah,
so that's
right.
You know what I mean. I want to judge you for a fedora hat.
Don't get me wrong. I still want to hate things, just not you.
Yeah, exactly. I want to hate the TV shows that you're watching because they're stupid. No, did you just say Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen? I hate you.
And so what's Joe doing these days?
He still works. He actually also does. He's doing a lot more. He does the security, which it went from like houses to like they do, major huge buildings, sky rises, shit
Whoa,
like that.
he's like a fucking mogul.
Yeah, we started doing like we started doing like those access controls where you carry the card, you swipe it. We did. My favorite was CCTV cameras because we'd catch people because we'd install CCTV cameras, like the digital ones, not the tape ones. And even the tape ones were confusing. Sometimes people would forget how to use them. And so we'd go down there and we'd help them. And I remember there's one time, it was a credit union president goes, I need you to come down here and pull this video. I think one of my guys was using his ATM code to float checks and do this. It's a federal crime for those guys to do that. Whoa. I go down there and we're going through the video and she's like, I think it was around this time because she's going off the transaction time. And as I'm going through it, she's like, there, stop. It's that guy right there. And it's a dude and you can tell he's wearing a false beard, but the beard stops like dead center, like right here. And it's just really bad because his face is really big and it's very bad.
It's a small beard on a big face.
and you can tell, and he's got like beads of sweat and he's like, sure. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of suspect, but how can you be sure it's him? She's like, because that's the shirt that I gave him at our Christmas party.
Oh,
dude, wow. He wore the shirt that he got from his boss at a Christmas party to rob his boss. like a fucking moron. Like these people were stupid.
That's too funny, man.
Yeah.
Wow. And so like, and I guess when you're working with your dad, like they send you out to do stuff like that. Like, do you still have like that intimate knowledge of the business even now? Like,
no, I don't really. I would go out to work for him. One, let me just state, I was a terrible fucking employee. Like, I was like rolling in. I was definitely like, they're like, that's the owner's son. And they're like, yeah, he's showing up at 11, leaving at 4. But on the other hand, I was only getting paid $7 an hour.
No, that's fair.
So I was like, yeah, I'm not taking this seriously because I don't have to. Right. But they would send me out to go do that stuff. And then, but then I remember, I wound up leaving because, me and my dad, I was like, I don't want to butt heads with you because we would butt heads on things, and I was like, I don't want to butt heads with you on a regular basis.
Right.
And I remember him going, yeah, but you'll butt heads with any manager. I'm like, yeah, but those managers aren't my dad.
Yeah, that's
what I mean?
That is definitely a difficult thing. Like, because my dad owns his own business too, and he's got his own ways of doing things. Sometimes he's not always the best at explaining to me why he does something, and it seems almost counterintuitive, to the way that I would think it needs to be done. And it's real intimidating sometimes to like ask, kind of like check your dad like that, like, and because you always assume you're wrong, but you don't know why.
And that's the thing. You're forever at this point where you can't. You're like, oh, you don't know anything. You're my dad, and he goes, you don't know anything. You're my son.
Right.
So you don't listen to each other. So a lot of times, it's very rare when that becomes a good working relationship.
Yeah.
And especially if your dad has a major, whichever one of you if one of you winds up doing something that's more successful than the other, you're going to hold that over. It's hard to disassociate that with every other aspect to compartmentalize. Whereas that's the thing. He was like, oh, I'm amazing at this thing. You don't know what you're talking about on this thing over here. And you're like, no, that doesn't equate.
Right.
So it's like when somebody who makes a shitload of money, like you get a billionaire, it's like, oh, I make a shit ton of money. So clearly I should be talking about abortion or whatever,
Right.
You're like just because you made money there and that's a weird topic, but any other topic, it doesn't give you the necessary know-how or the background to do this over here, to be an expert over here. So you should still be open. So, and everybody goes through that, whether it's success in comedy or whether it's success in whatever. Just because you've had success in one arena doesn't mean that you shouldn't be open.
Yeah, man.
To people's input over here.
Yeah, we had this. He's actually a regular at our shows now, and he's kind of settled down. But
do with the camera.
He he started coming to our Monday Tuesday shows, and he would send me 3 emails a week telling me how awful our shows were, and but his gripes were very silly things. Like, he's like, well, you don't have paper flyers, and you don't have, and he's like, and the point that I really checked out, he's like, you need funnier open micers, and I'm like, I have no control over how funny the open micers are, And then he would always come up to me and say, "Hey, look, man, I got some business experience. I ran a business for 30 years. I think I can help you out with some stuff." And I'm like, "Man, that's nice, but I literally have a dozen people that I could go to in like a mentorship kind of way that have relevant experience. I don't really need you shitting on my shows or applying your plumber's business knowledge to my comedy shows." I mean, it was thoughtful, but it got he was railing on me so hard, unsolicited. It's not like I asked for any help at all from him. He's better now, but. It's like, no, just because you had a successful plumbing business doesn't mean you know how to run a goddamn comedy show.
Exactly. Dude, the ones you get are, and usually where that bridge comes, where that divide comes, is actually between usually booker and a restaurant owner. Whoever owns that usually is like, "Oh, well, I run a successful restaurant. Clearly, I can run a successful comedy show." It's like, no, it's not the same thing. It happens in your place, but that guy, that's the same thing. You know what I mean? You're like, dude, stop telling guys how to do their jobs. You know what I mean? Who, like, dude, I'm pretty sure doctors have to love the fact that they sedate people in surgery. Like, surgeons have to be like, great. Because if you didn't sedate them, there's definitely a number of assholes who'd be like, "Dude, you're going to go in that way, doc?" Like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, no, you're supposed to make the incision higher. Where did you graduate from? Seriously, John Hopkins, like, let you in? Stupid. Like there's definitely one guy heckling a doctor while the knife is in him.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
dude, some
people, man.
Some people are just going to be idiots. But then you get to some people that are just great. But that's the thing. That's that one guy. Don't worry about him. The rest of the people on your show, oh my God, were amazing. There were so many good people.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah,
I met that dude from Long Beach who, like, I mentioned Long Beach, and he's like, "Dude, you took me back." And he grew up in Long Beach through the Sublime era. And he's like, dude, he grew up in Long Beach during the Sublime era when when Eazy-E, like Eazy-E was inventing gangster rap in like the next neighborhood over, Compton, and then right after that, Sublime was coming up, and he knew all those guys. Like, dude, you live down there in a magical time.
Yeah, we have some cool regulars.
So that
guy's been out to a few. There's another one of our regulars named Ava who comes out, and she rolls deep with all her senoritas, and she's probably
Órale, pues.
Yeah, she's just has all of her friends are so beautiful. And she brings them out. And it's a great. She's cool. I mean, but they're all cougars. Is the best part, in my opinion. And then we have another regular named Alama who comes out a lot. She's great. So we're
Alama?
ELAMA, and
I thought you said like the animal, like a llama
she's
comes
an
out.
actual llama.
She's a llama. She's from Ecuador.
Yeah, she brings her friend Alpaca.
Her friend Alpaca. Alpaca, come down to Alpaca Odd Motorsports, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Alpaca.
Oh my God, my dad's a horrible Italian. Instead of calling it al dente, he calls it al dente.
Wow.
He orders pasta. "I'd like to order it al dente." I'm like, "Dad, al dente is not a thing. Al dente is like a used car dealer who's like high on coke and he's trying to sell you a fucking like a used fucking Yugo from back in the 80s.
Al dente's peak.
Yeah. Hi, I'm al dente. Come down and buy shit from me.
I did want to ask, did you have any like dad anecdotes? Like, do you have a favorite dad anecdote? Like
I've got
a good memory.
I've got a few of like my favorites. Like, okay, so one of my favorite ones was my dad is LA County Sheriff, like never done. Like, that's why I did drugs, because he did none of them. So I did them all. I was like, I'll do all the drugs.
Yeah, I'll take yours, Dad. Because everybody has like a weird finite amount of drugs they're allowed to take. So
so he didn't do any of the drugs. So I was like, well, I got to do them. He left a lot of drugs out there in the world, and I'm trying to rid the world of drugs. My dad's a cop. He's trying to rid the world of drugs. I'm going to do the same thing, but just firsthand. So, but I remember he got sick, and he got a very bad heart like virus or whatever.
Oh, goodness.
So he went into the hospital, and when he went into the hospital, they were saying that for the heart virus, they were going to have to take a tube and kind of do, when they blow up one of your valves or whatever, they'll do a balloon thing. And I didn't know how this worked. And I was like, "Oh, doc, you got to go into the heart. You got to go like, wow, into the chest. Like, I'm like, are they opening rib cage? Is this like, how do you do that? And Doc's like, no, we're going to go through the thigh. And I was like, do you know where the heart is, Doc? Like, it's not down there. Or is that, no, there's a pathway. And I was like, there's also, you could take the dirt road. Like, you could go backside and do that. And so they did that. And I remember, because they're going through the thigh, through this lower area, they explained us the procedure. And the doctor was like, the nurse goes, we're going to need to prep the area. And he does this little movement, and my dad, being of
the flick of the wrist for the listening audience.
Flick of the wrist. He does the flick of the wrist that everyone knows, is the shave thing. But my dad, being of the Bush era, both lower agenda, both lower region and politics. That's why the Bushes were his fave. So no, he had no idea what that meant. He was like, I don't know. What he's like, what is this? And I was like, Dad, that means you're getting a haircut. That means that's what's happening. And my dad starts, and he's like, no. And like, because immediately he starts like you're taking something away that he had as his, like you're taking his manhood, like as if you were stealing the keys to his lower 32 coupe off the, like you're taking the car that he had. He had a 55 Chevy that he loved, like the American Graffiti car. And you're taking that. And he was like, no, I had this in high school. But I was in this when I met your mother. Like, this is how you know what I mean? Like everything that he related to, you know what I mean? Like you were taking that away.
That's hilarious.
And so he took that. And so he got back and I was like, Dad, just fucking relax. It's going to be fine. They're going to, shave it, trim it. It's going to look better. You and Mom will stay together longer. It's going to be bigger. Like
Mom might get excited about it again.
Yeah. She'll get excited. She won't cry at Christmas anymore. This would be great, Dad. This would be awesome. So, and then, but then he started to chill out, and then I remember I went a little too far for the nurse where I went, hey, when you're down there, could you just like trim like a little Hitler stash, like right above like the thing, so that way when he's with my mom, it looks like Pinocchio's lying about being a white supremacist. So and then my dad's just like, and the guy's like, no, that's not funny. Like he's a Filipino dude. But then I remember, and he had a bunch of hospital trips, and I always like to cheer him up when he's in there, but sometimes he's the one making me laugh. Like we were in the hospital. He would get stones a lot too.
Oh yeah,
and it's hard
brutal,
to
man.
It's hard to see him, and that's the thing. Being in LA County Sheriff, he never did the drugs, so when they dope him up, it hits him hard, and he doesn't know. Like, it's weird seeing my dad high.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So he's in there, and they're giving him, Dilaudid, which I think it's called Dilaudid, and it's that's essentially medical grade heroin. It's an opiate, and he gets real, like, my girl just had to take it, and she was like, oh, and she's like, oh, I'm warm, and I'm happy, and you're like, oh my God, this person's on a heroin trip.
Oh, wow.
And so it happens to my dad, and he's going, oh my God, it's so warm in here. Hold my hand. That feels fantastic. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, Dad, that's my hand you're holding. Are you okay? But then he goes through the withdrawals and he gets grumpy, Dad.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember he's like shivering cold, and he's like I could see him curling up, and my mom's taking forever to open this Lay's potato chip bag or whatever, and so it's just crinkling the entire time. And she's talking to somebody who's in the room, like a family friend who came to visit him. She's like, yeah, and it's because then that's what we did. And it's like, isn't that right, Joe? And my dad just looks at her and he's like, man, can't you guys just shut the fuck up? like a junkie. Like it's him pulling the blanket over him, like he's in fucking like train spotting, and he's just let's shut the fuck up and just give me a hit. Like, you know what I mean?
God, your dad sounds awesome.
So yeah, he has those moments, man, he hits him, and you're like, that's funny, Dad.
That is too funny, man. Yeah. We're gonna wrap it up, but before we do you wanna plug your social medias? And this will probably come out, I would guess, like late April, probably like the third or fourth week of April. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you want to plug any specific shows, if you know your schedule that far out, but at least your social media.
Yeah. I'm actually on Facebook, and you can look me up. It's hashtag, /Facebook /Petrillo, Petrildo, or Nick Petrillo. Search me up and look for
I'll put a link to your like your Twitter. And are you on Twitter much?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Yeah, I actually
Twitch.
I like to tweet almost more than I like to Facebook.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
something about like especially Facebook, when people start sharing a lot of the like I like the IRJ, like the thing, and it's weird seeing a social media page that has a red and a blue side. It's like, okay, so what's your stance?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
So it's weird, but I almost like Twitter more because at least people play hashtag games or something like that.
Yeah.
And it lightens it up. But I'm on Twitter too, at Petrillo, Petrildo, and that's the same thing for my Twitch.
Cool.
Petrillo.
I'll put them both in the comments.
And that's the same thing for
easy.
IG.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. You were a ton of fun.
Cool. And if you're watching, thanks guys for watching, and make sure to follow Dave.
Yeah.
Dave Apkarian, amazing Fresno comic, hilarious guy, super awesome dude. Make sure to give him a follow and a like.
Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. They're all. I mean, I was lucky enough to get Dave Apkarian for all three of those. So yeah, it's real simple. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you guys.
Cool.
Thanks for having me on your thing too.
Hell yeah, man! Awesome. This is the first time I've ever done this, so I was awesome.
Cool.
We had like up to 5 viewers. Like,
yes.
So which was dope. I was like, awesome, man.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Sweet.
so cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks again, Nick. All right. Nick Petrillo, everybody. Right? That was fun. His dad's a character, man. Again, follow Nick on all the social medias. I'll link all of his stuff for you guys to check him out and make it easy. And if you enjoyed this whole episode, this whole show, make sure to rate it and review it. I should have checked this. I did this last week. I don't think I have any new reviews on iTunes. I'll double check right now. One update to a thing I said last week. I had mentioned I was having some storage, some computer storage issues. I was running out of space on my computer, and so I kind of dug into that, and turns out I still had World of Warcraft downloaded on my computer. So I deleted that, and that freed up some space for me. So not as big of a concern now. I do like the World of Warcraft, but I can't do it, you guys. That's too much. I have too much going on. And I don't have any new iTunes reviews, so if you, I plan to read those out. So if you guys want to say a little thing about the show, I'll read it out on air and give you a little shout out in regards to that. But again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week, guys. You're the best. Kisses.